Your heart is racing. Your head begins to feel light. You start to worry what's to come. The day before, you were fine. You spent time with your family. You caught up on homework. You even cleaned your room. Why are you worried? One word: anxiety. Today, I want to inform you about a topic called a mental illness called generalized anxiety. We will explore the history of generalized anxiety, look at the symptoms, and see how common it is in society. I myself deal with generalized anxiety. I've dealt with it for 7 years and continue to. Researching information helped me to learn more about my illness and how I can relate back to the speech. Mental illnesses like generalized anxiety are very common, yet no one realizes that they were here since humans were here. Let's look at the history and facts of anxiety. Before anxiety disorders were recognized in 1980 by the American Psychiatric Association, most people who suffer from anxiety were given a generic diagnosis of stress. Generalized anxiety affects 6.8 million adults. Women are twice as likely to be affected than men. Although anxiety is treatable with medication and therapy, only 1/3 of people seek treatment. Anxiety disorders can be caused by a number of factors, including trauma, stress buildup, or stress due to an illness, withdrawal from drugs or alcohol, or family history of mental illnesses. Now that we've discussed the history of generalized anxiety, let's look at how common the symptoms that come with this disorder. We're now going to look at the symptoms that come with generalized anxiety disorder. A generalized anxiety disorder has a variety of different symptoms: difficulty concentrating, persistent worrying, overthinking plans, inability to let go of worry, difficulty handling uncertainty, and an inability to relax. Anxiety can lead to other mental illnesses, like depression. Depression could be a symptom of anxiety since the two go hand in hand. If you have one, you will most likely develop the other. Fatigue, trouble sleeping, headaches, sweating, and muscle tension are also more symptoms. Generalized anxiety has been linked to heart disease. People suffering from anxiety are twice as likely to have heart attack than those without anxiety. Chronic respiratory disorder is affected by anxiety. It may not cause it, but it affects the quality of life. Frequent hospitalization visits and severe distress in lung function due to anxiety in patients with COPD is extremely common. It can also progress this disorder due to the panic attacks controlling the amount of air that gets to the lungs. Would you talk to someone about generalized anxiety if you had these symptoms? Most people have their disorder, such as generalized anxiety, because they do not realize how common it is. Generalized anxiety is very common, though people do not talk much about it. Many celebrities have generalized anxiety that you do not know of. In 2016, Selena Gomez, a well-known pop artist, took a break from her career to deal with her anxiety. She even sought out treatment to help with the panic attacks caused from her anxiety. The actress Amanda Seyfried also deals with generalized anxiety. She even stated she had to be on Lexapro to treat her anxiety for 11 years. You don't see the mental illness. It's not a mass, it's not a cyst, but it's there. World leaders dealing with mental illnesses. Who would have thought? Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, was known to have anxiety. Researchers and historians were able to conclude this looking at his journals and writings. His upbringing and the loss of siblings is what eventually led to the generalized anxiety in his life and during his presidency. People just like you. Anxiety disorder is the most common mental illness in the U.S., affecting 40 million adults in the U.S., ages 18 and older, or 18.1% of the population, every year. So most likely, you know someone with generalized anxiety or have met someone with it. Today we learned about a mental illness called generalized anxiety. We looked at the history, symptoms, and how common generalized anxiety is in today's society. Something to leave you thinking is, how often will you notice anxiety in others now? Do you have a better understanding of what it is and how it affects life? Or will generalized anxiety never cross your mind again? If you're a Selena Gomez fan, I highly doubt that.